some injury-stroke team news to begin with, please?
Yeah, Chamak's obviously he'll be missing. We don't know how long he'll be out yet. I think he's going to have another scan on next Monday as well to see about the extent of the damage. We don't know whether it's the old one or it's a scar tissue from a new one. So he'll be missing. But Mariappa has started joining. He's doing full training and possibly be involved Saturday. Johnny Williams is training again, so we've no real, casualty other than Chamak.
Just looking at the game itself, it's arguably the toughest trip of the season, given that they are the Premier League champions. They've been good in the Champions League recently. They turned the situation around that was looking odds on against them. They look as if they're clicking into gear and maybe turning into the side they were last year. Just how difficult a trip is it from your point of view?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're just hitting that form, aren't they? I mean, it's always difficult to go to the Etihad, and with them being the champions as well, they play some wonderful football. But we've been playing well. We haven't scored the goals that our players warranted, really. So I don't think we go there with any fear. But we realise we've really got to be on top of our game to come away with anything. We know our goalie's got to play well, we know our back four's got to play well, and we know we've got to create chances. So it's a matter of we've all got to be on top, and we've all got to hope that one or two of their lads are a little bit below.
Probably half of their spine of their team is missing Company and Aguero. I mean, you must have been absolutely delighted to hear that, given how important those two players are. Yeah,
Aguero is as good as anything in the league, isn't he? Him and Costa are two of the best two probably in the league. But somebody said to me the other day about that. If they want to give me Nasri and Silva, I'll have them tomorrow. I think they're as good as anybody in the country. Those two. So the difference between the top clubs and the clubs at the bottom end probably are every position in the 25s a top international player that can play. Quite a few of them can play many positions. That's the difference really.
How does it affect your planning though? I mean, okay, they've got the strength in all departments, but they are, as I said, two extremely key players for them.
Yeah, we worry about ourselves more than Obviously, we look at their strengths, etc. But we look at ourselves really. We've got to know what we're doing, and we've got to be on top of our game. We've done that quite well recently, but we're stepping up another gear now. We did well at Swansea and at Tottenham. But now this is another challenge for us. We're going to probably the most difficult place, along with Stamford Bridge. So it's another challenge for us, really.
Chamak's out. Does it mean possibly a chance for Dwight Gale up there?
Well, I think I've said enough about Dwight. The thing about Dwight and Fraser is the good players. What I'm saying is that we're looking to strengthen the squad with a physical presence. That's all. I think they're both very good strikers, me. So they will be involved. They'll be involved in my thoughts for this weekend. But we haven't got a major physical presence if Chamak's out, which he is. So we have to look at what else there is if we have to change it.
How do you see the battle at the moment as things stand shaping up as we go into Christmas? You've got QPR and Burnley still fighting. Hull have been dragged into it over the last month or so. You're just a point above it yourself. How do you think this evening's shaping up? There's a lot of games in a short period of time. It will test the squad.
Yeah, it will. We're going to have to be lucky, really. I think with injuries, we can cope with Mariappa back and Delaney now. We can cope at the back. We're a little bit thin in midfield and up front, really. So we've got to be a bit fortunate, I think, in those with so many games. But everybody's the same. I think everybody in the bottom half of the table is looking downwards and not upwards. And it is going to be a small gap. I think it's going to be like that all season.
Just looking towards Joel Ward, suggestions that he might be on the verge of signing a contract. Do you have any update on that?
No, not really. Only on what I've heard. I spoke to Joel early on in the week, and he was optimistic, and I think that it's as close as we've ever been with him since I've been at the club, and I hope we can put it to bed before Christmas, really, because he deserves it. He's been a good player for Palace, and he will be for years to come.
What sticking points? Why has it been a bit of a prolonged process?
Well, contracts are always, they have to be agreed by both parties, and obviously neither party's agreed. So we are close now to agreeing, and that's the sticking point. We couldn't agree with both parties.
some reports as well linking Palace with a return for Ashley Cole. He spent time here on loan 14, 15 years ago. The agents rubbished it. Was there ever any interest from you?
Well, the thing is, you guys, you never let facts get in the way of a good story. I always said that every meeting, I think, every press conference. I was asked the question, would I have Ashley Cole? And the answer is yes, I'd love him. So now you write your own stories on the back of that and put whatever you want in it. The facts are that he's not going to come here. He's not going to leave Italy for a year. He's loving it in Italy. He walks about in the town without getting recognised. There's no press people up his nose shoving cameras in his face. He's loving it. So the answer is no. But I'd love him, yeah. So write whatever you want out of that. I don't know what. It'll be interesting to see what comes tomorrow.
Neil, given recent away performances, do you go to Manchester City confident rather than full of trepidation?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be. We're not kidding ourselves how difficult it will be. We'll have to have a good start to the game. I know that, but we are playing some good stuff. I think we can beat anybody on our day, really, and I think away from home. I think everybody knows the pitch has been a bit of a problem for us. Well, away from home, the pitches have been good, and you can see the difference in the mileage that we covered. The players do well over 1,000 kilometres or whatever. Is more away from home because it is like treading on sand at the moment. But I'm pleased to say that the pitch is going to be returfed after the Boxing Day game, and that it can't come soon enough for the players. I know that, and there's been problems, but the club have moved now to returf it, and I'm pleased about that, really.
Do you think sometimes you and the team don't get the credit you deserve for the style of football you play? Because I know after some matches, Mark Hughes and Gary Monk have sort of been a bit demeaning about Palace's style.
Well, I can understand Gary Monk probably having a go. I can't understand Mark Hughes, if I'm honest, but it depends on what you call style.
But they sort of made out that Palace were quite Group 1, whereas at times you do play some nice stuff and may well do so at Manchester City.
Well, I've not seen anything like that. I just, I'm quite pleased with how we're playing. I think we're playing as well as we can.
Chris, there's a busy period coming up. Are you confident that we've got players in the academy that are good enough to step in if needed?
No, at the moment, I don't think we've got anybody really that's going to push the door down to come back in. I think we've got to go with what we've got, and it'll be nice to get people like Johnny Williams fit again to give us another option with so many games coming up. But at the moment, we are a bit thin on the ground. I can't see anybody. I speak to Gary Izzet all the time. We've sent 2 or 3 lads out on loan to try and get a bit more experience. But I don't envisage anybody like that coming at the moment.
Man City opened their impressive new academy facility recently. Are you involved in any plans of Palace to improve the facilities there?
Well, we're always on talk. We've been talking since before I came about a new training ground, and I know they've gone into big details on that, and that is the way forward. I mean, Palace have always had a great academy, really. The where they get the players from, that area of South London. It's a net for top, for the youngsters. So to progress, they have to have better facilities, and that's what the club are looking at. And I suppose that's the future of the club, really. Getting an academy, getting the dome, proper dome, where they can go indoors in the bad weather and etc. And hopefully it won't be too far away. That.
Any other two?
Yeah, obviously on the pitch, I know you and the players will never use it as an excuse, but how difficult has it been for them this season?
Well, I think it's great that we haven't really used that. It's only when you look at the stats, and I'm not a stat man as such, but I think one player did 2,000 kilometres less the last game than he did at Swansea. Are you with me? Or things like Tottenham. It's very difficult to run on the surface at the moment, and it's nobody's. It's one of those things that's happened, and you can't rectify it until you know the answers, really. So at least we know now that from the first game in January, the Tottenham game, it will be returfed, and hopefully that will be better for us.
For the Southampton game, but there's no risk of injury for any players, is there?
No, there's no risk of injury. It's just a little bit harder work, and especially down the flanks. It's more difficult for people like Yannick and Wilfred and Jason. Are you with me to actually sustain the level that they are doing away from home.
Yeah, and you say actually Paul, no chance of him coming. Is the left back area someone that you maybe look to strengthen? I know Joe Ward's done very well there this season.
Well, we're looking to supplement the squad to give us other options, and a left-footed there, would give us other options. And Joel can play different areas, and Kelly and Mariappa can play centre back. So it just gives us more of a choice going into the second half of the season.